Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit.
You know, every time I come back to this channel, it's literally just to laugh at how horrible your videos are, how monotone you sound, how uncreative you are with the things you say, how bland and dry and deprived of any character you are. And it's people like you that pushed me away from the whole anti-SJW movement. It's gotten out of hand. Because when you're a YouTube channel with bare minimum requirements or any talent, you've got to consistently upload every single day. And when that's the case, you have to start reaching and searching for social justice where it doesn't exist. Also, you can bank on the outrage news like a fat pig.
Today we return to talking about the latest Marvel movie, Avengers Infinity War, which not only shattered box office records in its opening weekend, just over a week ago, it also has gone on to make over $1 billion in just 12 days. That's pretty crazy, guys. And I say it's much deserved as well. I saw the movie opening night and I was more than impressed. It's got great action, good fun, laughs, a cool story, and most importantly, one of the best villains of all time, Thanos, who not only assembles the Infinity Gauntlet, he also proves to be a formidable match to the Avengers.
What's this? No Bullshit enjoyed a movie for once? Are you sure it wasn't, quote-unquote, ruined or destroyed by feminist and social justice warriors? Because according to a trend on your channel, it seems that social justice ruins everything. I'd hate to be in your shoes and never have media that satisfies my needs or pleases me.
Today we're going over some of the few but noteworthy bad parts of the movie, namely the SJW moments that pull you out of the story a bit and make you go, huh? Why are they doing that?
Well, you see, since I'm a pretty rational and normal functioning human being, I didn't see all too many things like that in the movie. All I saw was a great piece of film. Great characters, great villains, beautiful visuals, a cohesive story. Normally, when I see a woman doing something amazing in a movie, her sex really doesn't affect anything that's happening because I'm not a bigot. Whenever I see a black character on the camera, my immediate thought isn't that he's shoehorned in. Because, you know, luckily I'm not racist. Nor am I saying you're a bigot or you're racist, but at this point, I honestly can't blame people for calling you those things when the nitpicks you have with a movie are as ridiculous as you are about to make.
Marvel is owned by Disney after all, so much like how their left-leaning SJW ideology bled into the new Star Wars movies, so too has their bullcrap creeped into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Where? Which films? What type of social justice left-leaning ideologies have infested these films? Can you name some examples?
Fortunately though, it's nothing nearly as bad as The Force Awakens, or the SJW fest that was The Last Jedi from back in December.
So I see you named two examples that aren't actually the Marvel Cinematic Universe, nor can I even agree with you that these films were infested with social justice.
No, I will say, to be fair, most of these SJW moments are a bit nitpicky for Infinity War. Besides the first and worst offender, nothing really messes up the movie too much. There's just a few things I noticed that were pretty social justice warrior-like, and progressive-ish.
Social justice to who? You? Are movies no longer allowed to have a little bit of progressivism?
Well, with all that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. The first character we can for sure tell has SJW influences is Shuri, the Black Panther's sister and technology expert. Shuri was set up as this smart, sarcastic, know-it-all scientist in the previous Marvel movie, Black Panther, where she proceeds to mock the American spy Everett as he comes into their lab injured.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix. This is going to be fun.
Phil, you fucking idiot. You don't know jack shit about the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, do you? Do you know why she said another broken white boy for us to fix? Did you even watch Infinity War? What other broken white boy could there have been for them to have fixed? I don't know, it's at the tip of my tongue. It starts with a B. Bucky, was it?
And Everett, of course, got that injury by jumping in front of Black Panther's bodyguard, saving her life by literally taking a fucking bullet for her. Everett nearly gave his life to save a Wakandan woman, but Shuri just jokingly calls him another broken white boy. A pretty disrespectful thing to say to a guy who took a bullet for your brother's bodyguard, but whatever. But that's not even the worst anti-white thing Shuri says in Black Panther.
If this was anti-white propaganda, they wouldn't have even helped Bucky. You know what happened in the theater when that line was said? People around me laughed and chuckled. White people! Not a single person in that theater turned to me and said, gee, wasn't that a little anti-white?
Check out this reaction of her seeing Everett wake up from his recovery.
Alright, where am I?
Don't scare me like that, colonizer.
What? My name is Everett.
Yes, I know.
Colonizer? Really? This is not only pretty anti-white and racist, it's also inaccurate. Americans never really colonized Africa, unless you count Liberia, which was settled by American blacks who wanted to start their own nation in their home continent. Maybe Shuri's referring to America's colonizing in general, but even that was a pretty sparse history, especially when compared to all the European countries who really controlled the colonial things in that era, like Britain, Spain, Portugal, France, or even the Dutch and Germans. They're the ones who did the majority of the colonizing in Africa, not Americans. So with all that said, I just think Shuri is being a bit of an anti-white and anti-male here in the Black Panther movie.
Let's take a step back here, no bullshit, shall we? Wakanda is closed off to the rest of the world. Wakandans rarely leave their own country. In fact, the majority of them don't know jack shit about the outside world. Basically, a society that knows very little about the outside world would probably have a very poor view of outsiders in general. It wouldn't be far-fetched to think that perhaps Shuri has a negative view of outsiders. The history that Wakandans have with people of different skin color is colonization. If it wasn't for Wakanda hiding itself away from the rest of the world, they too would have probably been colonized and enslaved. So the history that they have of outsiders is a bad one. But of course, what we are seeing here with Shuri is her ignorance. This is the only perception she really has of outsiders. And that changes near the end. That's kind of the whole point of the movie. Remember, it's heavily implied throughout the beginning parts of this movie that Wakanda does not want any interaction with the outside world for fear of it trying to colonize them and take over Wakanda for their resources, the vibranium. But of course, near the end of the movie, they change their ways and decide to open up to the outside world. But I do love how you go off on this tangent about real life history and colonization based off the comments this girl made. You even go on to proclaim that she's anti-male and never list any examples of this. But she said a little theme to the white male. Therefore, she probably thinks all males, right?
And it looks like the same kind of SJW things happen with the character in Infinity War as well. This brings us to not only the most SJW moment in Infinity War, but also just the worst scene of the movie. Granted, it's quick and pretty easy to look over, but this scene between Shuri and Bruce Banner really rubbed me the wrong way. Check this out.
Oh.
The structure is polymorphic.
Right, we had to attach each neuron non-sequentially.
Why didn't you just reprogram the synapses to work collectively?
Because we didn't think of it?
I'm sure you did your best.
Okay, now I can see what they're going for here. Shuri is making this cute line and everyone's supposed to have a little laugh about it. Oh, that's funny, look how smart she is. But in actuality, Bruce Banner and Vision are supposed to be pretty fucking smart too. Banner is like one of the top scientists in the world, renowned for his study of gamma rays, which, of course, is what also turned him into the Hulk. And Vision, the one laying down there, he's like this futuristic half-robot, half-Asgardian super genius who knows everything, which of course makes him very fucking smart too. And then we got this Shuri chick coming along and schooling them all and being disrespectful.
So let me get this straight. You expect a young teenager, a smart, cocky one at that, to have respect for scientists she probably doesn't even know existed. Now I could see why the scene would turn you off, based on how cocky she comes off. But being conceited isn't a sign of social justice. Many characters are written to be conceited. I just wonder if you would have had a problem if it was a young male scientist, or a white young male scientist. Hell, do you seem to forget just how conceited, cocky, and disrespectful Tony Stark is? Why isn't that a problem? There is no social justice propaganda here. It's just a character being a character. Isn't the whole point of your movement that identity politics play no role in determining how great one's character is? And yet here, you're basing the way she's written off as social justice merely because she's a girl.
I know that could make sense in the story in a way too, because Shuri is from Wakanda, which has more advanced technology, but even so, this scene still turns me off completely to the character. It turns me off to the movie a bit too, but more so, it really starts to make me hate Shuri. Now sure, this scene didn't ruin the movie or anything, but damn, it really did make me cringe. Especially when you remember again that Shuri is talking to Banner, one of the top nerds and top scientists in the Marvel Universe. And if Shuri is anywhere near as smart as they want you to believe she is, it would be fair to say she knows who Banner is, and is familiar with some of his scientific work. So it's just very disrespectful to act like this to him here. Let's take another similar meeting of minds in Marvel as an example. Remember when Stark meets Banner in the first Avengers movie? It's one of the most classic IQ measuring contests of all time, and while they may be a little competitive, they still also have instant respect for one another. They share their knowledge and they show off a bit, but it's not too much bragging. It's not a pompous way they do it. Not like how Shuri is to Banner here.
Okay. Before I even recorded this next part of the video, I literally took to the other room to laugh my ass off. I do like how in your mini rant right there, you kind of already gave an explanation as to why she's probably more intelligent in some areas than these characters. But it's funny. You're not offended by a single moment that Bruce or Tony are smartasses to each other, both incredibly intelligent men. But here, this girl outsmarts Bruce Banner and Vision for just a second, a brief second, and it's suddenly not okay. Why is that? She clearly has the capacity to be this intelligent. We saw the level of her intelligence in Black Panther. We know what she's capable of. Her intelligence has already been established. Why is it a problem now? Well, I'm being a little disingenuous. I already know why it's a problem for NoBullshit. It's because she's a WOMS. And if a WOMS displays any level of competence, it means it's that evil feminism. It possibly can't be because the character has already been written to be an intelligent individual. No, it's clearly feminist agenda. Let me ask you something, NoBullshit. If Bruce Banner gave her the same attitude she gave him, which wasn't even that big of a deal, would you be complaining and going on a rant like this? Something tells me you wouldn't. You're also forgetting she's a young teenager. Her attitude is not going to be like an adult's attitude. Tony and Bruce meeting is a big moment for both of them because they understand each other's work. Shuri, on the other hand, probably doesn't know who any of these guys are, doesn't know their accolades, doesn't know their accomplishments. Why would she approach them with admiration?
And no matter how much people say she knows her vibranium and may be a skilled physician, engineer, or robotic expert, quantum physicist, or even an exotic dance prodigy, she could be a cooking savant for all I care. The bottom line is, I find her character to be this classic I'm a genius because reasons, which ends up being shallow and a bit cringy.
No, she's a genius because that's how the film established her from the beginning. That is how she was written. It's not just because. If you paid any attention to what you were watching, you'd know this.
Sure, Shuri isn't all bad either. I do like her character as the annoying little sister of the king of Black Panther, and she also plays a good rebellious daughter to the queen, because that was relatable too. But when it comes to being the super genius, holier than thou mega bitch, I just cringe hard. They basically make Shuri this scientific Mary Sue kind of character, who just knows everything just cause the script wants her to, because she's young and black and female, I guess.
Oh my... Wow. Well, I'm glad you're so upfront about it. I really am. I don't have to point out that you're being a bigot or you're being slightly racist. You do it yourself. That young black female, she can't be a scientist. And if she's written like that, it's just because of those reasons. Even though she's black because she lives in a predominantly black area, even though she's the sister to the king of Wakanda and clearly has access to some of the best academics and technology around, no, it's because there's an agenda. Because she's black and female. How dare she have one moment in the movie, one moment where she outsmarts a white male. How dare she?
And it also really reminds me a lot of Rey from the new Star Wars movies, in a lot of ways. Especially like this scene from The Force Awakens.
Be pieces of us in 3 different systems. What'd you do?
I bypassed the compressor.
both scenes have new female main characters showing up our old favorite white male characters for absolutely no reason, and that's just rubbish to me.
I'm not even going to go over this scene in The Force Awakens because I think Sean did a great video on this, explaining some of Rey's feats throughout the movie and giving them context and reasoning. But you trying to say that Shuri is a Mary Sue is ridiculous. She's already an established character. It's already accepted that she has a high level of intelligence. She wasn't randomly written like this for no reason at all. There is context. There is reasoning behind this. But your blind hatred for social justice and feminism is clouding your vision of things here. That, or you could probably actually be racist and sexist, but I don't know.
And back to Shuri in Infinity War. It's worth noting here that the little idea she comes up with in this scene, probably the worst scene in the movie, well, her plan doesn't even work out in the end. And normally that could be forgivable since everything in the universe is working against her, but after Shuri was so smug and disrespectful, pretending to be so much smarter and better than everyone, well, failing after acting like that just makes her look even worse.
I don't even know if you've watched the entire movie or you purposefully ignore certain scenes just to paint other ones as feminist or social justice. It's probably the latter of the two because you're retarded. But if I remember correctly, it's not so much that her plan didn't go through, it's more to do with the fact that Vision kind of just pulled himself up and left.
And back to the original clip of that scene, which we saw here was played during an interview with the actress on Good Morning America. Well, this Shuri situation gets even worse when you realize that they're trying to set her up to be this big hero for young black girls out there, someone to look up to. Look at all these girls on the show dressing up like Shuri, looking up to her, when, in my opinion, she's a bit of a bitch who should not be praised like this.
Wait, little black girls are looking up to her as a role model? How dare they? Don't they know who she is? She was a complete bitch throughout this movie. I mean, never mind the fact that she maybe made a comment here and it wasn't even all that offensive, but it was to a white male. Therefore, I declare her a bitch. Also, the majority of those little girls are dressed as the Black Panther. Fucking idiot.
The next and second worst SJW part of Infinity War has to do with Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, who, besides a quick fight with Thanos at the beginning, well, besides that, we hardly even see the Hulk in this movie. After he loses to Thanos, the Hulk refuses to come out for Banner, who is then stuck in his human form for almost the whole movie.
Huh. That's strange, Phil. That's very strange. That almost sounds like a character arc.
And at face value, that might not seem like such a bad thing. It sounds like they're trying to mix things up a bit, but when you combine this with the disrespect from Shuri, well, it's starting to seem like the Hulk is a victim of the SJW agenda here. Think about it. The Hulk is the biggest and strongest and, dare I say, most manly Avenger. Do you really think it's a coincidence that he all of a sudden can't Hulk out here too? He's basically got erectile dysfunction, or Hulk rectile dysfunction, I guess.
Actually, no. Quite the opposite. It's probably one of the more masculine things out there. Hulk, this big brooding force, got pwned, bitch slapped by Thanos, and is now in shame, hiding inside Bruce Banner. Actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of like an anime. What exactly is social justice-y about this?
So, to me, it really seems like the SJWs are trying to neuter the most manly character in the Avengers.
That makes no logical sense whatsoever, and I have no idea how you connected those dots. Because it wasn't a woman that bitch slapped the Hulk. It was a man. A very masculine man who beat the living shit out of Hulk. A man did this to the Hulk. A man!
And this low-key attack on men is also a two-pronged approach, because not only does the movie neuter the Hulk, the manliest character, they also buff all the girl characters and make them overly smart and skilled, for little more reason than to say girl power a couple times. I felt like chanting it out in there, in the theater. We already saw how overpowered...
Holy fuck, there's about 8 more minutes of this shit? Why? No, okay, we're ending it here. This is some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. When you're not running around Twitter having small rants against nobodies like me, as you proclaim, and then going around calling people kids and losers, and then being unable to debate destiny, getting really fat and becoming an absolute loser, I put into question your ethics, which you probably don't have. I know the only thing you see in the anti-social justice movement is cash signs. You want to continuously bank on this trend because you make money from it. You don't care if you're completely misrepresenting someone's art. All you do care about is lining up those 13-year-olds that feel that they have a justification to call women the naughty words or to say nigger. You're as stale as cornbread, boring, bare bones. You lack talent, and a brain at that. Maybe I'm taking this video a little more personal because I do have some personal issues with you, especially on the YouTube platform and the kind of person you are. You're influential, and that is a scary thing. Look at this video. Look how much your own fan base thinks you're an absolute loser. I mean, I would be embarrassed. I would hate to wake up in the morning knowing I gained about 70 pounds in my entire time on YouTube and now I'm overweight, and then have to stare at myself in the mirror and face the facts that I made such a shitty video and that my own fan base thinks I'm a loser. But it wouldn't matter to me because greed overcomes these things. As long as I continue to rake in the money while shamelessly putting out misinformation and being completely racist and sexist and influencing others to follow this trend and act the same way, what do I have to lose? I'd be embarrassed personally to be one of these YouTubers that ever shared a platform with you and ever streamed with you after seeing your attitude and the garbage you upload. Now you're all going to have to forgive me for not sitting through this entire video and debunking everything he says and every point he brings up, because it's just insane. A normal, functioning human does not view the world this way. But more importantly, I left it this way because I want you, the audience, watching this video to go over and just see how idiotic it is for yourself. It's sad, because banking on racism and sexism and bigotry and making money off of it was something that I thought ended a long time ago. But NoBullshit and other YouTubers of his caliber have managed to make it possible once again. And it's disgusting. Maybe I'm coming off as an SJW to some of you out there, but I don't give a fuck. I'll call out people on their bullshit, even if their YouTube name indicates that there isn't any there to begin with. As for the rest of you and your gorgeous sexy faces, there's lots you can do to continue to support Papa Frit. You can join my cancerous Discord. Stay for about 5 minutes and then leave it when you feel, well, when you start feeling the symptoms of cancer. You can also follow me on Twitter, which I would most certainly give you a nude for. So go do it. Other than that, there's not much else to say except, well, what this old guy's about to say as soon as the credits roll out. So have a good one.
Fritanga sucks ass.